Maya sat frozen at the table, staring at the small black folder in the waiter's hand. Her heart pounded. She already knew what was inside. The bill for $1,000. She looked around the table. Her mother, Diane, was smiling. Her sister, Claire, was laughing softly with her fiancé's parents. Her father, Robert, was checking his phone, pretending not to notice anything. No one else looked worried. No one else looked surprised. Only Maya felt the panic rising in her chest. 2 hours earlier, everything had felt normal. Diane had called her with excitement in her voice. "Maya, we're celebrating Claire's engagement tonight. Wear something nice. It's a special night for the family." Maya had smiled at those words. A special night for the family. She liked hearing that. She always tried to be part of the family, even when it felt hard. She arrived at the restaurant a little early. It was a fancy place, the kind with soft lighting and glass chandeliers. The kind of place Maya would never choose for herself, but she didn't mind. It was Claire's night. When she walked in, she saw the whole family already seated. Claire's fiancé, Daniel, was there too, along with his parents. Everyone looked happy. Everyone looked comfortable. Maya sat down next to her father. She smiled at everyone. "Congratulations, Claire," she said. "I'm really happy for you." Claire barely looked at her. "Thanks," she said, already turning back to Daniel's mother. Maya didn't think much of it. Claire had always been like that, busy, distracted, focused on people who mattered more to her. The waiter came. Diane ordered without even asking anyone else what they wanted. "We'll have the lobster tower to start," Diane said. "And bring us the seafood platter for the table." "Actually, bring 2. Maya blinked. 2 seafood platters for 8 people. "And champagne," Diane added. "The good one." Maya glanced at the menu. The lobster tower alone was $600. The seafood platters were $450 each. And that was before the champagne, the desserts, and the extra courses. Diane kept adding. She wanted to say something, but she stayed quiet. It was Claire's night. She didn't want to be the one who made things awkward. As the night went on, more food arrived. Steak, more lobster, wine, dessert platters no one had asked for. Maya noticed something strange, though. Every time a new dish arrived, Diane would glance at her, just for a second, with a small smile, almost like she was testing her. Maya tried to push the feeling away. She told herself she was imagining things. By the end of the night, the table was full of empty plates and half-finished drinks. Everyone looked satisfied, relaxed, happy. Then the waiter came back with the black folder. He placed it gently in front of Maya. Maya blinked. "I think this is supposed to go to my parents," she said, trying to laugh it off. But no one reached for it. Diane looked at her calmly. "Maya, sweetie, you're the one with the good job. We thought it would be nice if you covered dinner tonight. As a gift to your sister." The table went quiet. Claire finally looked at Maya, not with love, not even with surprise, with expectation. Maya felt her face grow hot. Everyone was staring at her now. Daniel's parents, Claire, Robert, all waiting. I didn't know I was supposed to pay for all of this," Maya said quietly. Diane's smile didn't move. "It's just money, Maya. Family helps family. You always understand that." Maya's hands were shaking as she opened the folder. $4,012. She looked up at her mother, searching for even a small sign of guilt. She found none. Slowly, she reached into her purse and pulled out her card. Her fingers felt numb. She didn't want to make a scene. Not here. Not in front of Daniel's family. Not on Claire's night. She handed the card to the waiter. A few minutes passed. The table chatted casually, as if nothing unusual had happened. As if humiliating Maya in front of strangers was completely normal. Then the waiter returned, his face apologetic. "I'm sorry, ma'am." The card was declined. Maya's stomach dropped. That's not possible." But before she could say anything else, Robert cleared his throat and stood up quickly. "I think I left my wallet in the car," he said. "I'll be right back." He walked away fast. Too fast. Maya stared after him, confused. And then it hit her. He wasn't going to the car. He was leaving, and for the first time that night, Maya realized this wasn't just about the lobster. This was something much bigger. And she had no idea yet how deep. Robert never came back with his wallet. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. Maya kept glancing at the restaurant door, waiting for him to walk back in, embarrassed, apologizing. But he didn't single quotes T. Diane didn't seem worried at all. She sipped her champagne and kept talking to Daniel's mother about the wedding venue, as if nothing strange was happening. Maya finally pulled out a second card, one she rarely used. Her hands were still shaking. This time, the payment went through. $4,012. Gone. No one at the table said thank you. No one even looked at her. Claire leaned over to Daniel and whispered something that made him laugh. Maya couldn't hear the words, but she felt her cheeks burn anyway. On the drive home, Maya's mind went back in time. This wasn't the first time. It wasn't even close. 3 years ago, when Claire couldn't make rent for 2 months, Maya had quietly transferred money into her account. No one made a big announcement about it. It was just expected, the same way people expect the sun to rise. Last year, when Robert's car broke down, Maya paid for the repair. $1,200. Robert had told everyone at Thanksgiving that he found a good deal on a mechanic. Maya had said nothing. She didn't need credit. She just wanted to help. 2 years ago, when Diane needed surgery and the insurance didn't cover everything, Maya paid the difference. Diane had cried and hugged her that day, thanking her over and over. But a week later, at a family gathering, Diane told a cousin that the hospital had worked something out with her. Maya's name was never mentioned. Maya used to tell herself it didn't matter. She had a good job. She could afford to help. Family was family. But sitting alone in her car outside her apartment that night, she finally let herself ask the question she had avoided for years. Why was she always the one giving? And why did no one ever seem to notice? The next morning, Maya's phone buzzed. It was a message from her aunt, Linda, who had also been at the dinner. Maya, honey, I just wanted to say, that was very generous of you last night. Diane mentioned you always take care of things for the family. You're a good daughter. Maya stared at the message, confused. Diane had told people that Maya always takes care of things, as if it was a personality trait, not something Maya had quietly sacrificed for year after year. She typed back a simple reply, "Thank you, Aunt Linda." But inside, something had shifted. That weekend, there was a small family lunch at Diane's house, meant to plan more wedding details. Maya almost didn't go, but she didn't want to seem upset, didn't want to be the difficult one. So she showed up, forced a smile, and sat down at the table. Diane was in a bright mood, showing everyone fabric samples for the wedding decorations. Maya, dear, Diane said suddenly, without looking up from the fabric swatches, since you were so generous with dinner, we were thinking you could also help with the flowers. Just the flowers. Nothing big. Maya felt her stomach tighten. Mom, the dinner was $4,000. That wasn't exactly small. The table went quiet for a moment. Claire looked up, annoyed. Maya, don't make this weird, Claire said. It's my wedding. Can't you just be happy for me for once? I am happy for you, Maya said, her voice trembling slightly. But I didn't agree to pay for the whole dinner. I was told it was a celebration, not a bill I had to cover. Diane finally looked up, her expression cool and unreadable. Maya, we don't need you to make a scene about money. You've always been the responsible one. That's just who you are in this family. Some people give love. Some people give support. You give money. It's your way of showing you care. The words hit Maya like a slap, but they were said so calmly, so simply, that for a moment she almost believed them. Almost believed that this was just her role, the responsible one, the giver, the one who didn't need anything back. But then she noticed something. Claire and Diane exchanged a quick glance. A small, knowing look, like they were both in on something Maya wasn't. What was that look? Maya asked quietly, What look? Diane said, already turning back to the fabric samples. You're imagining things, sweetie. Maya sat there, feeling smaller than she had in years. She wanted to press further, to ask what was really going on. But something told her this wasn't the moment. Something told her she needed proof before she said anything else. She excused herself early, saying she had work to catch up on. No one tried to stop her that night. Back in her apartment, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the look between Claire and Diane. It wasn't just guilt. It was something else. Something they were hiding. She opened her laptop more out of restlessness than any real plan. She logged into an old family email account that she and her parents had shared years ago, back when Maya used to help manage the household bills. She wasn't sure why she still had the password memorized. She wasn't even sure what she was looking for. But as she scrolled through old, forgotten messages, one subject line caught her eye. It was an email from Diane to Claire. Sent 8 months ago. The subject line read, using Maya's info for the loan. Don't tell her yet. Maya's hand froze over the mouse. Her heart began to race. She clicked it open. The email was short, but every word felt like a punch. Claire, don't worry. The loan officer said we could use Maya's information since her credit score is strong and she's never late on anything. I'll handle the paperwork. We just need her signature on one form. And I already have a copy of it from the insurance file. She won't even notice. Don't tell her yet. You know how she gets about money stuff. We'll explain it after the wedding. Once everything is paid off. Maya read it 3 times, hoping the words would somehow change. They didn't. Her hands were cold. Her mind raced through everything, the insurance file, the generosity, the years of quiet giving that had never once been mentioned with gratitude. She scrolled further down. There was a reply from Claire, perfect. As long as it doesn't come back on us. She's always so uptight about this stuff. She get over it. Maya felt sick. She searched the rest of the account, digging through folders she hadn't opened in years. She found a PDF attachment buried in a message from 3 months ago. A loan agreement. $22,000 for wedding and venue expenses. At the bottom of the document was a signature. Her signature. Except she had never signed it. Maya stared at it for a long time. The letters looked almost right, close enough to trick anyone who didn't look too carefully. But she knew her own signature. She knew she had never agreed to this. Her mind flashed back to the year before, when Diane had asked her to sign some paperwork for the insurance claim, promising it was just a formality for the hospital records. Maya remembered signing something quickly, trusting her mother completely. She hadn't even read it carefully. Now she understood. That signature had been copied, or maybe even traced, and used somewhere else entirely. Her chest tightened. This wasn't just about being taken for granted anymore. This was fraud. Her name, her credit, her signature. Used without her permission to fund her sister's wedding. Maya's hands shook as she picked up her phone. It was almost midnight, but she couldn't wait until morning. She called the number listed on the loan document. A recorded message answered, telling her the bank's customer service line was open only during business hours. She hung up, frustrated, and sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the ceiling. She thought about calling Diane right then, demanding an explanation. Part of her wanted to scream, to finally let out years of quiet anger. But another part of her, a colder, more careful part, told her to wait. If she confronted them now, they would only deny it, delete the emails, destroy the evidence. She needed proof first. Real proof, saved somewhere safe. Maya spent the rest of the night taking screenshots of every email, every attachment, every message between Diane and Claire. She saved copies to her personal cloud storage, then emailed them to herself at a separate, private account no one else knew about. By sunrise, her eyes were red from lack of sleep. But her mind was clear in a way it hadn't been in years. She wasn't going to yell. She wasn't going to cry in front of them. She was going to find out exactly how deep this went. And then she was going to make sure the truth came out on her terms. Not theirs. The next morning, Maya called the bank listed on the loan document, using her lunch break at work to sit in her car, away from her coworkers. After being transferred twice, she finally reached someone who could pull up the account. Can you confirm the name on this loan? Maya asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Yes, ma'am. The account is under the name Maya Whitfield, opened 2 years ago. It's still active, with a current balance of $18,400. Maya's stomach dropped. 2 years. I thought. She stopped herself, unsure of what to say. She had assumed this was recent, tied only to the wedding. But 2 years. Is there a problem, ma'am? The woman on the phone asked. Maya closed her eyes. Yes, she said quietly. I didn't open this account. I need to report this as fraud. The woman's voice grew more serious. I understand. I'm going to transfer you to our fraud department right away. But I do need to let you know, since the account has an active payment history and hasn't been reported before now, this may take some time to investigate properly. Maya's throat tightened. 2 years of payments made in her name, tied to her credit, connected to a debt she never agreed to. 2 years of her family quietly using her identity while smiling in her face, thanking her for gifts she never gave, praising her generosity that was never really hers to give. She sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel, feeling more alone than she had ever felt in her life. But as the fraud department picked up the call, something inside Maya shifted. The fear was still there, but underneath it, something stronger was rising. She wasn't going to be silent anymore. She wasn't going to let this be buried, explained away, or forgiven just because family is family. Whatever came next, she was ready to find out exactly how far her family had gone and exactly what it would take to make it right. The fraud department told Maya the investigation could take weeks, maybe longer. They needed documents, statements, proof of forgery. It felt slow. Too slow. Maya couldn't just sit and wait. She needed to understand the full picture before she decided what to do next. That evening, she called the one person she trusted completely outside her family, her old college friend Priya, who was now a lawyer specializing in financial fraud cases. Priya listened quietly as Maya explained everything: the emails, the forged signature, the loan, the years of quiet payments no one ever acknowledged. When Maya finished, there was a pause on the line. Maya, Priya said carefully, this isn't just a family problem anymore. This is identity theft. It's serious and it's illegal, no matter who did it. I know, Maya whispered, but it's my mother. My sister. I understand that makes it harder, Priya said. But you need to protect yourself first. Have you reported it to the credit bureaus yet? Maya hadn't. She didn't even know where to start. Priya spent the next hour walking her through it, freezing her credit, requesting a copy of her full credit report, documenting every fraudulent account tied to her name. As they talked, something else came up that made Maya's stomach twist. There wasn't just one loan. There was also a store credit card opened 18 months ago, with a balance of $3,000, used mostly for wedding decorations and dresses, and a smaller personal loan taken out just 2 months ago, right before the Lobster dinner, worth another $2,500. All under Maya's name. All unpaid aside from minimum payments that had clearly been designed to avoid drawing attention. Maya felt her chest tighten as the numbers added up in her head. Nearly $24,000 in debt, tied entirely to her. All quietly funding a wedding she hadn't even been asked to help plan, only asked to pay for. There's something else you should think about, Priya said gently. The wedding is in 3 weeks, right? Once it happens, and the debts are already spent, it becomes much harder to recover the money or prove intent. Right now, while it's still fresh, you have leverage. You have proof. Timing matters. Maya sat with that thought for a long moment. She wasn't the type of person who wanted revenge for the sake of revenge. She just wanted the truth to be known. She wanted her family to finally understand what they had done, not through arguments or tears, but through undeniable facts. I don't want to destroy them, Maya said quietly. I just want them to stop pretending I don't matter unless I'm useful. Then let's make sure the truth speaks for itself, Priya said. No yelling. No accusations no one can verify. Just facts laid out clearly at the right moment over the next several days. Maya worked with Priya to organize everything, printed statements, screenshots of the emails, timestamps, the forged signature compared side by side with her real one. It was overwhelming at times, but it also gave her something she hadn't felt in a long time. Control. For once, she wasn't reacting to her family's decisions. She was building something on her own terms. Meanwhile, life at home continued as if nothing had happened. Diane called twice that week, cheerfully asking about flower arrangements and seating charts, never once mentioning the dinner, the declined card, or the tension that still lingered. Maya answered politely, giving short, calm responses, careful not to reveal anything. It was strange playing along while holding a secret so much bigger than anything her family realized. Then, on Thursday afternoon, an envelope arrived at Maya's apartment. Cream-colored, elegant, with gold lettering. She opened it slowly. Inside was a wedding program, along with a note in Diane's handwriting. Maya, we'd love for you to be Claire's maid of honor. It would mean so much to the family. Claire will call you soon to talk about the speech. Maya stared at the words for a long time. Maid of honor. A speech. Her family wanted her silence about the money, but they wanted her voice at the wedding. They wanted her presence, her image, her generosity, all wrapped up in a public role that would look good in front of everyone. A slow, quiet realization settled over Maya. They had just handed her the perfect stage. If the truth was going to come out, if her family was finally going to face what they had done, it wouldn't happen through a private argument that could be denied or twisted later. It would happen in front of everyone who mattered to them. In front of the people they wanted to impress the most. Maya picked up her phone and called Priya. I have an idea, she said. And I think it's exactly what we need. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt something other than fear or sadness. She felt ready. The wedding rehearsal was held at a small vineyard just outside the city. The kind of place with string lights and rows of grapevines that photographed beautifully. Everyone was in a good mood. Everyone except Maya, who felt like she was standing on the edge of something enormous. She had decided not to wait until the wedding to give her family one last chance. Priya had agreed it was the right approach, fair, clear, and undeniable. If Diane came clean now, quietly, privately, there was still a chance to handle things without a public collapse. If she didn't, Maya would know exactly where she stood after the rehearsal dinner. As the caterers packed up and guests said their goodbyes, Maya found Diane alone near the vineyard's back patio, sipping a glass of wine and admiring the string lights above. Mom, Maya said quietly. We need to talk. Now, Diane turned, smiling automatically. Can it wait, sweetie? It's been such a long day. No, Maya said. It can't. Something in her tone made Diane smile falter slightly. Maya pulled a folder from her bag. The same kind of folder that had once held a restaurant bill she hadn't agreed to pay. This time, it held printed proof of everything. The emails, the loan documents, the forged signature. She held it out. I know about the loans. All 3 of them. I know about the forged signature. I called the bank. I called a lawyer. I know everything, Mom. Diane's face changed instantly, the polished calm cracking at the edges. Maya, it's not what it looks like. We were going to tell you after the wedding. Maya interrupted. I read the email. We'll explain it after the wedding, once everything is paid off. You didn't forget to tell me. You planned not to. Diane set her wine glass down, her hands trembling slightly. You have to understand, Maya. Claire needed help. This wedding, it's important for her future with Daniel's family. You always land on your feet. You always figure things out. We knew you'd never say yes if we asked directly, so you decided for me, Maya said, her voice steady despite the tightness in her chest. You used my name, my credit, my signature. Without asking. It wasn't supposed to hurt you, Diane said quickly. We were always going to pay it back. With what? Maya asked. The lobster dinner you made me pay for. The flowers you asked me to cover a week ago. Diane's jaw tightened. For a moment, there was silence between them, broken only by the soft hum of crickets in the vineyard. What do you want, Maya? Diane finally asked, her voice sharper now, defensive. An apology. Fine, I'm sorry. Is that enough? Can we move past this before tomorrow? I want the truth to matter, Maya said. Not just to me. To everyone who's been told I'm the one being taken care of. When really, I've been the one taking care of everyone else. Without even knowing how much, Diane's expression shifted, something cold settling behind her eyes. If you say anything tomorrow, if you ruin this wedding, you will regret it. Do you understand me? This family will never forgive you. You'll be the one who destroyed your sister's wedding over money. Maya felt the old fear rise in her chest, the familiar urge to shrink back, to apologize, to keep the peace like she always had. But this time, something steadier rose beside it. I already reported the fraudulent loans to the bank, Maya said calmly. I already spoke to a lawyer. There's already an investigation open, Mom. Whatever happens tomorrow, this isn't going away. I'm not the one who decided to ruin anything. That decision was made when you signed my name on paperwork I never agreed to. Diane's face went pale, the confidence draining from it in an instant. You ... You already reported it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, Maya said. Weeks ago, Diane opened her mouth, then closed it again, seeming to realize, for the first time, that this was no longer something she could control with a calm tone or a practiced smile. Maya, she said, her voice softer now, almost pleading, please. Think about your sister. Think about the family. Maya looked at her mother for a long moment, feeling something that was neither anger nor sadness, but a strange, quiet clarity. I have thought about the family, Maya said. For years, I've thought about nothing else. Tomorrow, I'm going to think about myself for the first time. She turned and walked away, leaving Diane standing alone under the string lights. Her wine glass forgotten on the table beside her as Maya walked back toward her car. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Priya. Everything ready on my end. Are you sure you want to do this tomorrow? Maya looked back once at the vineyard, at the soft glow of lights, at the family gathered just beyond the patio doors, laughing, unaware of what was coming. She typed back a single word. The wedding day was beautiful. Sunlight poured over the vineyard, the string lights from the night before now replaced with white flowers and soft music. Guests filled the rows of chairs, dressed in their best, smiling, chatting, admiring the decorations Maya had unknowingly paid for. Maya stood beside Claire as maid of honor. Her dress perfectly fitted, her hair styled, her face calm. From the outside, she looked like any other happy sister, ready to celebrate. Inside, she felt steady, not angry, not nervous, just certain. The ceremony went smoothly. Vows were exchanged, rings were placed. Claire and Daniel kissed as the guests clapped and cheered. Diane, sitting in the front row, dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, playing the role of the proud, emotional mother perfectly. Maya watched her for a moment, wondering if her mother truly believed the version of events she had built for herself, or if she simply chose not to think about it at all. The reception began soon after, held in a large tent decorated with the same flowers Maya had almost been asked to pay for. Dinner was served. Laughter filled the air. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, the toasts. Daniel's best man spoke first, sharing a few funny stories that made the crowd laugh warmly. Then it was Maya's turn. She stood, glass in hand, and walked to the small stage set up at the front of the tent. She could feel her heart beating steadily, not with fear, but with quiet resolve. She looked out at the crowd. Diane's smile was frozen in place. Claire looked proud, expectant, ready for a sweet, sentimental speech. Maya took a breath. Claire, she began, her voice clear and calm. I've known you your whole life. As your sister, I've always wanted good things for you. Tonight, more than anything, I want you to build a marriage based on honesty. Because I've learned recently just how much damage secrets can cause. Even inside a family that loves each other, the room grew slightly quieter. Sensing a shift in tone, though most guests still smiled. Assuming this was simply an emotional moment, a few months ago, Maya continued, I found out that loans had been taken out in my name, without my knowledge or permission, to help pay for parts of this wedding. Nearly $24,000 in debt tied to my credit, my identity, my future. I found forged paperwork with a signature that wasn't mine, though it was made to look like it. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Diane's face went white. Claire's smile collapsed entirely. I'm not sharing this to ruin today, Maya said steadily. I'm sharing it because I spent years being told that love in this family meant giving quietly and asking for nothing back. I did that again and again, without complaint. But what happened here wasn't love. It was using someone who trusted you completely. Daniel's parents exchanged uncomfortable glances. Diane stood up quickly, her voice shaking. Maya, please, sit down. This isn't the place. You're right, Maya said, turning to her calmly. It's not. But it's the only place you gave me to speak. The tent was silent now. Aside from a few uncomfortable shifts in seats, I've already reported the fraud to the bank and to the authorities. Maya continued. This isn't a threat. It's already happening. I'm not asking for anything from anyone here tonight. I just needed the truth to finally exist somewhere outside of hidden emails and quiet arrangements. She looked at Claire, whose eyes were filled with a mixture of shock and shame. I hope you build your marriage on something stronger than what I grew up with, Maya said softly. I love you. I always will. But I can't keep pretending everything is fine when it isn't. She placed her glass down gently and stepped off the stage. The tent buzzed with hushed, shocked conversation. Daniel's parents, visibly disturbed, quietly gathered their things and left within the hour, along with several of their close relatives. Unwilling to stay in the middle of what was clearly a much bigger family conflict than they had expected, Diane sat frozen at her table, her carefully built image crumbling in front of the very people she had worked so hard to impress. Months later, Maya sat in her apartment, sunlight streaming through the window, as she reviewed a letter from her lawyer. The fraudulent accounts had been officially closed. The debt cleared from her name after a lengthy investigation confirmed everything she had reported. Diane and Robert had entered a repayment agreement to cover what remained, monitored carefully by the bank and by Priya. Her relationship with her family was different now. Quieter, more distant, but honest in a way it had never been before. Claire had reached out a few times, first with anger, then slowly with something closer to understanding. They weren't close the way they used to be, but there was no longer a hidden debt sitting silently between them. Maya had learned, finally, that love without honesty wasn't really love at all. And for the first time in years, she felt free. Not because she had gotten revenge, but because she had finally been heard. She closed the letter, took a deep breath, and allowed herself, at last, to feel proud of who she had become. *The end.